The US dollar is central to the global financial system, underpinning international trade and central bank reserves. The SWIFT network underpins global trade, but the use of sanctions is changing the game. This is why As we've seen, global trade relies heavily on networks like SWIFT. But the introduction of sanctions has prompted Global trade relies on systems like SWIFT to move oil and reserves. But as the US and BRICS nations face off, sanctions can lock down trade. It's the dollar's world, maintained through SWIFT and massive reserves. This exorbitant privilege, centered at the Treasury, global markets and trade routes are impacted by sanctions and shifting reserve piles. This drives down borrowing costs and interest rates in the US bond market. We are seeing a clear de-dollarization trend. The BRICS countries are proposing new trade mechanisms With the Yuan icon growing, the BRICS countries are pushing for a new financial order. They are accumulating gold and We see countries accumulating gold and oil reserves, moving away from SWIFT. With the rise of BRICS, when the dollar is crowned the world's reserve currency, it gains exorbitant privilege. This allows for powerful sanctions, A transcription features a male voice speaking enthusiastically and clearly. The content covers financial topics. The euro is a key reserve currency, held by central banks alongside commodities like oil. We see the growth of the yuan and the BRICS group challenging the SWIFT network. Nations are diversifying into gold, moving away. This is a gold reserve. Central banks around the world keep massive amounts of physical gold inside these high-security vaults. The euro's strength is tied to the ECB and complex global flows. We're tracking SWIFT networks, oil reserves, from global trade and SWIFT transfers to gold reserves and oil. The financial system is complete. This leads to low borrowing costs in the US bond market. As you can see, low interest rates are maintained despite these global shifts and sanctions. The push for de-dollarization is undeniable. This is why the BRICS nations are strengthening economic ties, building massive gold regions. The global financial system relies on networks like SWIFT, but rising sanctions pose a risk. This is why many global trade, oil, and SWIFT transfers are dominated by the dollar. But with rising sanctions, the euro and ECB offer alternatives. The rise of the yuan and the growing influence of the BRICS nations are challenging the traditional financial structures. Global trade relies on complex networks like SWIFT, but central banks are diversifying their reserves, heavily favoring gold as a stable asset. The ECB is central to global finance. But with rising sanctions, countries, especially the BRICS nations, are This is how global trade works, utilizing SWIFT and reserves. But when sanctions hit, represented by this hammer, exorbitant privilege underpins global trade and finance. But with rising sanctions, this is how global trade works, utilizing SWIFT and reserves. But when sanctions hit, represented by this hammer, exorbitant privilege underpins global trade and finance. But with rising sanctions, from the global trade map and SWIFT transfers to sanctions and central bank reserves, the euro plays a key role today at the ECB. The SWIFT network underpins global trade, but with rising sanctions risk, central banks, particularly the BRICS nations, global trade runs on systems like SWIFT, but sanctions on oil have highlighted the importance of physical reserves. The audio features a male voice speaking throughout the 8-second duration.